Hello everybody, my name is Caroline Parsonage and I am the subject geography lead here at Irlam Primary School. I'm just going to take you through a quick presentation to tell you how we teach geography and what kind of topics that we cover here at Irlam Primary School. So geography to me is about exploring the world around us, the people and the places that make up our planet and make it so unique. We experience so much geography in our daily lives that we don't often give it a moment's thought. As a teacher, I want to share my enthusiasm and encourage my pupils to appreciate the geography around them. Increasingly, we are aware of the negative impact that people can have on the world, and the children that we are teaching now will grow up to be faced with issues such as climate change and global warming. Geography will help them to understand the issues and hopefully find the solutions. So how is it taught here at Irlam Primary School? Currently, we use the Odyssey scheme in conjunction with Digimaps for School. It gives us a broad range of topics and it gives us lots of inquiry skills that we need to be out there during our fieldwork trips, investigating and having first-hand knowledge about the world around us. Rather than being a classroom subject, geography needs to be outdoors, and hopefully with the new scheme of Odyssey, we'll be able to get out there. Digimaps is a brilliant resource. It also gives us maps from the 1890s, so we can look at Irlam 120, 30 years ago, and the children can compare the historical means as well as geography. So geography curriculum at Irlam Primary School. We teach it on a block basis, so we'll take turns with history. So we'll start with geography for 6 weeks and we'll have history for 6 weeks. There is simply not enough time in our school day to teach history and geography. So we have 3 topics each in each year group covered throughout the year. So it ranges from the United Kingdom and local area for the year 1, and it takes us through to United Kingdom and our local fieldwork again in year 6. We found Ofsted had found that children are leaving primary school with not enough knowledge of where they come from. So it is imperative that the children have a sense of place and know where they come from and can name countries in England and the capital cities. So why do we teach geography? We teach geography so that children are aware of their place in the world, especially now, as we've said about climate change and the human influences on the world. So the human influences is the human aspect of geography, and we also have the physical aspect, so such as rivers and mountains, and the two are taught in conjunction. Through learning about local, national, and international communities, we believe that children develop a strong respect for diversity and culture. And as we know in the current times, that is fundamental, that children learn to have a strong respect for everybody. We bring geography to life and make the most of what we have right on our doorstep. And here in Irlam, we're extremely lucky in that we've got a rural and urban area. We just have a short walk and we're at the Chat Moss, so we've got beautiful fields around us. So we have to make the most of those areas. So at our school, the local area and the school grounds are at the heart of our curriculum, especially in Key Stage 1 and early years. We will use the immediate area for our field trips. Children develop a sense of place in relation to their own environment when they are out there in their own environment and their community. So we encourage our children to appreciate the places and people all around the world. And through the curriculum, children begin to understand the need to respect and care for our community and the environment, as we've touched on. So geography in early years. So it's under the area of understanding the world. In the Early Learning Foundation Strange framework, we are taught geography. It's taught through topics, most cross-curricular, make it relevant to children, such as stories such as Lost and Found. So the children will be reading a story about the penguin who has to go back to the South Pole. So they'll be learning about the cold and the hot areas. Hand of Surprise, set in Africa. So it has that language where children need to build on and realise that there are different cultures, and thereupon look at the globe and find out what these countries are in the world. They are provided with opportunities to explore maps. As an example there, we could draw maps, or we could build maps using various resources and bricks in the early year settings. So the children learn about familiar features such as houses and farms. They might have a trip to the local fire station. So fieldwork for them is open-ended in early years. The children explore, involving sensory exploration, they play and they engage, which gives them a sense of place. So they visit the local area, and that provides opportunities for language development as well. So pupils name and describe what they see to their peers and adults. So it's also communication and language, which is tied in with geography there. So in Key Stage 1, we then progress into the knowledge about the world, the UK and our locality. So we look at Irlam and we look at our country, England, and the other countries, what's our capital city, London. So there's some of the objectives there, but I won't go through them all because there's quite a few. So looking at hot, cold places, looking at the compass, simple maps, aerial photos, fieldwork, which will take us outside into, again, the local area. So there's just a picture of geography in action in Key Stage 1. That's a group of boys in my Year 1 class. So last week they just were investigating rivers. So because we were reading a book which involved a river, and we started talking about the River Thames in London. So they decided to make a river, and it was going all the way from France to Italy. But we've never discussed Europe, so that was just their language being brought into the classroom. Here we have a study again in Year 1 of the 4 countries of the United Kingdom, so the children could investigate the various 4 countries, and particular focus was made of London and key features such as Buckingham Palace, and we talked about Parliament, etc. So in Key Stage 2, we start to broaden our knowledge from the UK to Europe to North and South America and look at physical and human features. So there we have an example of countries around the world. We have look at time zones, hemispheres, and the topographical features and land use. So geography in action in Key Stage 1, very much like making rivers, field trips to Cledda Hall. We have pictures there of Llandudno, our trip to Llandudno. Making mountains in Year 5. Sorry about that. And here is an example of some of our displays in Key Stage 2. Obviously, we're a study of mountains in Year 5, Rio and Brazil in Year 3, and then in Year 4, we were looking at hemispheres and the equator and the prime meridian. Brazil Day in Year 3 was a huge success. It's a new topic of ours, Brazil. We're studying rainforests as well this term, but the children in Year 3 delved into a bit more knowledge about Brazil itself, and they had a brilliant time enjoying our Brazil Day with Miss Boardman and Miss Smith's class. So key skills in maps. Maps are fundamental in geography, but lots of people are scared of maps. In fact, we don't use that many maps today because we have our phones and technology does it for us. So we have to take the children back to OS maps. Again, we use Digimaps, we can use it online, we can print our maps out. So we'll be going out into the local areas with our maps. The children have to know the difference between a globe and a 2D flat map, and that they are basically the same. Fieldwork is imperative. It's fundamental in geography, particularly now. So hence why we've adopted the Odyssey curriculum, so we can get outside a lot more. So I think that fieldwork is an invaluable part of geography. It gives pupils the opportunity to work in their local area and understand the components that help make up the connections with the subject. The world is changing dramatically, both socially and environmentally, and the children need to see that for themselves. If they have a trip around Irlam, they may see that we have the mosque, but there's also the danger that the mosque could be built on in years to come with housing, and the children need to know what impact that will have on their area as regards jobs and housing and schools. So fieldwork develops their observational skills, such as seeing changes in their local area. And it gives them the opportunity to have a real practical opportunity, to see, hear, feel, understand for themselves, all the way from nursery up to Key Stage 2. We do have school trips. Obviously, with COVID in the last few years, that has hindered our opportunity to get out there into the field. Luckily, we've got Chatmoss on our doorstep, and that's wonderful. But trips to Cledda Hall in North Wales takes place every year for Year 5 and Year 6, and they will have map skills, practice their map skills, their orienteering, and more importantly, they'll have lots of fun in the outdoors. And not many children get the opportunity to do that. Also, every year we have Culture Week. So every year group picks a country and we look where the country is on the globe, what their culture is, their food, their customs, their dress, and we love making the food, to be honest. That's a big success for the children. So there we have Barcelona. That little boy was from Barcelona. So we obviously did a Culture Week in Nursery on Spain. And there's year 4 last year on Germany, because we'd studied World War II. So we thought it would be nice to study the culture of Germany itself. So pupil voice is fundamental in our school in general. So this year we have our geography ambassadors. So they will meet with me and discuss what they think that we need to change for geography, what's important to them, and what they think is important to their peers. So we have Alfie Veldhoven, Max Hoare, James Godwich Harmer, and Maddie Parks, who are your ambassadors for geography. So I'll conclude there with a quote from Michael Palin, one of my heroes. Geography is a living, breathing subject, constantly adapting itself to change. It is dynamic and relevant. Geography is a great adventure with a purpose. And there we have the wonderful David Attenborough saying, I wish the world was twice as big and half of it was still unexplored. Because geography itself is a wonderful subject, and I want children to become enthusiastic about it. It should be woven into all our learning, because after all, geography isn't just a subject, it's the world in which we live in. And it's imperative that children know that geography is a way to teach our pupils what this means and how that their actions can shape the world and the future. It contributes to pupils' health and well-being, as well as their cognitive and social development. I hope that I've expressed how important geography is to me and to our school. Thank you for listening. Goodbye.